tomorrow.
The United Nations General Assembly has passed a resolution demanding an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza, with 149 countries voting in favor. The non-binding text urges all nations to apply pressure on Israel, including taking all measures necessary to enforce international law. The resolution also demands the unconditional release of all hostages taken during the October 7 Hamas attack and calls for an end to Israel's blockade on aid into Gaza. It condemns the use of starvation as a method of warfare and criticizes Israel for blocking humanitarian access. Israel's envoy called the measure a farce, while the Palestinian ambassador urged countries to take action, including cutting off arms and money to Israel. This vote follows a U.S. veto at the Security Council last week and comes as humanitarian conditions in Gaza continue to deteriorate. Listen in to the Riyad Mansour, Palestinian ambassador to the UN.
Draft resolution stresses Israel's obligation as occupying power to ensure that humanitarian aid reaches all the population in need, and demands the immediate and permanent facilitation of full, rapid, safe and unhindered entry of humanitarian assistance at scale, including food and medical supplies, to and throughout the Gaza Strip, and its delivery to all Palestinian civilians.
Danny Danon, permanent representative of Israel to the UN. Dorothy Shea, U.S. representative to the United Nations. Barbara Woodward, UK's ambassador to the UN.
But this resolution in front of you says nothing about that. It does not acknowledge the facts. It does not hold Hamas accountable. Instead, it hands Hamas everything it wants: time, leverage, legitimacy. By adopting this resolution today, you will give Hamas political cover. You will strengthen their hand, and you will tell the families of the hostages that their loved ones are no longer your priority.
This draft resolution sends an unacceptable message to Hamas and other Iran-backed terrorist proxies. And that message is, you will be rewarded for taking hostages, diverting aid, and launching attacks from civilian areas. Mr. President, colleagues, blind support to Hamas by the members of this body further undermines the meaningful diplomacy underway to free the hostages and emboldens Hamas as the terrorist group continues to reject ceasefire proposals accepted by Israel.
Israel and Hamas need to agree to an immediate and unconditional ceasefire, that Hamas must immediately and unconditionally release the hostages, and that Israel, as the occupying power, must end its blocks on aid and ensure unhindered humanitarian access. And crucially, there must be an end to any actions that stand in the way of a two-state solution and the best chance for peace for the Israeli and Palestinian people.
Meanwhile, Egyptian authorities have detained over 200 pro-Palestinian activists in Cairo ahead of a global march to Gaza. The activists from over 40 countries had planned to march to the Rafah border to demand aid access into Gaza. Some were held at Cairo airport, others were questioned at hotels and phones confiscated and belongings searched. Several were later released following diplomatic intervention, while others were deported. Egypt says border visits must be approved officially, even as pressure mounts on Israel to lift its Gaza blockade. Meanwhile, Israel has deported 6 activists who tried to break its naval blockade on Gaza. 2 others remain in custody. The flotilla was intercepted in international waters, sparking global condemnation. Now we move on to Israel-Lebanon. Tensions are rising again on the Israel-Lebanon border as Israeli drone strike killed one person in Nabatieh al-Fawqa in southern Lebanon, according to the Lebanese Health Ministry. State media says the strike targeted a motorcycle and was one of the several Israeli air raids across the region. This comes despite a ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hezbollah reached in November last year to halt more than a year of fighting, including 2 months of all-out war. The deal required Hezbollah to pull back to the north of the Litani River, while Israel was to withdraw from Lebanese territory. But Israel still holds 5 strategic positions and last week said it will keep striking until Hezbollah is disarmed. No comment yet from the Israeli military on Thursday's strike. Well, that's all we have time